Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy. He's sharing his story about events that happened years ago when he was 24 years old. And he started dating this woman that he really liked. The problem is, like many guys who start dating a gal they really like, is they make all these boneheaded mistakes with her, like putting her on the pedestal, spending all this money on her, letting themselves being jerked around by her, all this BS that no guy would ever put up with a gal that, he thought was average. And I'm doing this, guys, as a perfect example of what not to do, so you guys can learn from this guy's mistakes. And believe me, like I tell you, as I go through this story, you're just going to want to slap the shit out of him, okay? And believe me, I'm going to call him on these different things. And I know he's aware of these things. Obviously, it's why he's sharing the story, and I respect that he's doing it. But holy crap, these mistakes is like unbelievable. But you know what? It's a good teaching story because a lot of guys are that clueless and don't know. And they wonder why they're being taken advantage of. But you're going to see as I go through the story, guys, all the BS she puts him through. And ultimately, doesn't end very well for him in terms of like how she treats him and all that. But fortunately, this guy does learn his lesson. And obviously, he watches my type of content as well as other channels like mine sharing a story. And definitely later on down the road, you'll see that she's not doing very well either. There's a little karma there at the end for her. But I think you guys will enjoy this, especially you guys that want a good laugh at this dude's expense for the things that he did in the past. But let me tell you, don't laugh too hard because some of these things, a lot of guys do. So he starts off, he says, hey SSM, I dated this girl a little while back. I was 24 and she was 28 and was working my first real job in Silicon Valley. We met online and she instantly blew me away. She was 5'11", blonde, with a stunning body to match. The only thing I didn't like about her were her tattoos, which should have been a red flag for me. But I swept it under the mental rug. That's a red flag. I don't care for tattoos on women at all. Maybe she can get away with a little hoe tag or tramp stamp above her ass, a little one, that's about it. But any tattoos on legs and arms and all that, total turn off. It's like putting a freaking bumper sticker on a Ferrari or a freaking Lamborghini, as the saying goes. It just ruins a great body. Anyway, he says, from our first date, I did something I usually didn't do. And I blew $200 on a horseback riding trail because I wanted to impress her. Smack. Well, I tell you about the first date, a drink, guys. You meet with her for a coffee or tea if you don't drink alcohol. Or if you do drink alcohol, a beer, a wine, something like that. That's it, cheap date. But here he is. I wanted to impress her, he says, and something I don't normally do. And he blew $200 on her on a stupid take her in the park or go to a horse farm and ride horses, like something like these stupid dates on those shows like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. So already you're not being yourself. And guess what? If she's beautiful, she's used to a never-ending supply of guys that do this shit. And what do women do to guys that they know are trying to impress them and spend a bunch of money at them to get them to like them? They don't have respect for them. And they then jerk them around and pull bullshit on them, as you're going to see. Never do that, guys. One drink. That's it, okay? And if you're having a good time, and if you're having a good time, then maybe you get a second drink, okay? Maybe some appetizers if it looks like she's really into you by her behavior and all that. But $200 on some horseback riding bullshit? No. No. And watch what happens. Predictably, you're going to see how she treats him after he's obviously demonstrating through his actions how much he likes her. He says, everything went well and I hit it off. Oh, so you think. We planned to go out again and she ended up standing me up. No cancel notice or anything. She just didn't show up to the cafe we had planned to go to. It was radio silence for 3 days, and then she texted me talking about how her anxiety had gotten the best of her because she just had gotten out of a long, toxic relationship and wasn't sure she was ready to date again. We talked it through and promised to take it slow and continue dating. Smack. Guys, if a woman stands you up, if you have a planned date and you go there and she doesn't have the courtesy to contact you ahead of time that something's wrong, she can't make it, whatever, that's bad enough. But just she doesn't show up at all with no contact, and you think it's a good idea to keep dating someone like this, by you doing that, you're communicating, hey, you have permission to jerk me around. You have permission to treat me like shit. And it also communicates, I have nothing going on in my life, so I'm willing to put up with this crap because I got nothing else going on. And she's going to think, well, if he's going to put up with this, he's not much of a catch. So I'll continue to jerk him around and, off in case, guys, take advantage of him financially. And what I tell you about that $200 date back in the beginning, how much a mistake that was to show how much he liked her, right? And wanted to impress her. She's like, okay, I can jerk this guy around and there'll be no consequences. See what I mean? One drink. That's it. First date. And the second date, maybe a couple drinks and appetizers. You build up to see if she really likes you. This $200 date shit for the first, That's something if she's your girlfriend for a while. Maybe something like that. And if you want to do horseback riding, don't just go do some bullshit because you saw it on TV. But right there, he should have been done with her. But he keeps dating her. And it gets worse. It says, fast forward to a few weeks later, and we were texting every day. It's our 5th date, and we're chilling at her place and watching a movie. Texting every day. You should be texting your girl every day. You should be busy on your purpose, or hang out with your bros, or working, letting her wonder where you are, what you're doing, what you're thinking, who you're with. You're texting every day. You're having a friendship, not an actual relationship. Another mistake guys make. See? Says it's a good atmosphere and everything is chill, so I go in for the kiss. But she dodges it and explains that she isn't ready to be physical yet, that she has had too much trauma from her ex. You're on your 5th date with her and you haven't kissed her yet? There's 5th date and there's no action as of yet? Amongst all the other things she's doing to jerk you around and mistreat you? You're out of your damn mind. I recommend the first date you go in for a kiss, and if she doesn't kiss you back, then that's it. Because obviously then she's not interested in you enough to kiss you, or she probably wants to make you do things on her timetable, like she has rules or something. That means you can count on more bullshit. You walk. You don't wait 5 dates and try to steal a kiss from her. But she does it and says she had trauma from her ex. I thought this was weird, but I told her I understood, and we got back to the movie. We ended up cuddling more, and I ended up feeling her up a bit and started from a back massage, which was strange again because she said she wasn't ready to kiss, but here I am with my hands all over her body. That is a little weird, although kissing is an intimate thing. This would become a pattern of her constantly saying things she didn't actually mean, and then trying to use this as mixed signals behavior against me. Oh, what a wonderful relationship, man. Again, all because you think she's hot. There's other women out there that you don't have to deal with this kind of bullshit with. But you trying too hard, amongst many other things, showed her I can do whatever I want to this poor sap, and he'll just go along with it. I'm sure you're different now, bro, and I appreciate you sending this story in to help guys learn, but holy crap. But see, guys, these types of things. And I definitely think there are guys out there that have probably done things along these lines, so this is a good learning one. It says, as I was about to leave her place that night, she pulled me aside and we had a long talk about how she didn't think she was ready to date and basically broke up with me, saying a bunch of non-committal pseudo-talk about her ex and how it was too good for her. She said she needed a few days to think about it, and I agreed. You're a total doormat. I need to think about it. No, after 5 dates, you're going to make up your mind right now. Otherwise, I'm done. And not that you should have gotten to that point, but that's what you should have said. Okay, I'll sit around waiting by the phone for you to tell me whether you want to see me anymore, Your Majesty. Get the hell out of here. We texted over the next few days like we've been doing. Smack. You should not be texting all the time. No negative signs from her whatsoever. Very fun, flirty, and positive. Dude, your whole dating her has been a negative sign. So, thinking everything was alright, I asked, so you'll stay with me, right? Dude, talk about desperation. So you'll stay with me, right? No woman wants to be with a guy that acts desperate and puts her on the pedestal and treats her like that and puts up with her shit. I can't stress that enough. He says then, no reply for 40 minutes. Then she finally texted me back saying that no, she's not one to continue dating. When I pressed her for an answer on why, she had continued to interact with me. So normally, if she thought that, she clammed up and said that we shouldn't communicate anymore. Fine, if that's how it's going to be. Okay, this is when you should have been gone. After all this BS, you should have been done. But no. I was pretty sad and depressed about this for the following weeks because I really liked this girl. Really, I never figured that out, dude. But started to come out of the funk after some time. Then I got a text from her out of the blue saying, I miss you. At first I thought this was a sign, the old adage of if you love her, let her go, and she comes back, it's meant to be. So we went out on another date and rekindled things. Over the course of the next 2 months, I took her out constantly, trying to be the best boyfriend that I could be. Expensive restaurants, romantic locations, everything. Smack. All this bullshit. Dude, are you telling me no other woman likes you? There are no other women out there that have any interest in you whatsoever, that you got to put up with all this bullshit? It's unbelievable, the shit that guys do that don't understand. And a lot of this is common sense. A lot of this, if this guy probably looked at this situation, it didn't happen to him, or let's just say at the time period, it wasn't happening to him, he was focused on his career in Silicon Valley, which he should have been doing, instead of spending all his time with this bimbo. And this was happening to a friend of his, I bet he would be a lot more objective. Dude, don't do this, don't do this. But when it's happening to you, and a man's emotions are engaged, and he's thinking with the other head down there, it makes all his dumbass mistakes that are pretty obvious. So we went on another date, blah, 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 and I'm spending all this money on her like an idiot. We eventually get past the touch barrier and consummated the relationship. But she constantly talked about her ex, which really bothered me. One thing that also perked my danger radar was when she told me that all of her exes had been super abusive and toxic, and told me some stories about them that I had a hard time believing. This culminated in one day when we went on a date to the mall. She said she wanted to go shopping, and I obliged. You obliged? No man should be obliging any woman. And notice that he said all her exes were toxic and this, and this. So you're the nice guy that she's going to go with and milk for everything it's worth and jerk around. That's how it goes, guys. You can see right here. When we go there, however, it quickly became apparent that what she meant was that she wanted to go on a shopping spree and that I was supposed to pay for it. Now, I'd spent a fair amount of money on her over the course of our relationship and certainly had not been stingy. Smack. I was a little tapped out at that point and certainly wasn't going to just buy her random clothes that day. He says high dollar designer brands as well. So I explained this to her and she seemed to understand. We had a good time, went back to her place afterwards. However, when we got there, she said she was very distant and straight up faked a work emergency to get me to leave early. However, I asked her if anything was wrong several times, as if she was upset and attempt to work anything out, but she absolutely denied it. Of course she denied it. She's like, oh, you don't want to spend money on me anymore? Okay, I'll go find the next sucker. Several days go by of complete radio silence, no return texts, calls, anything. She then calls out of the blue and says she is breaking up with me. Gee, I couldn't have predicted that one, brother. This instantly shatters me. I was completely unprepared for it and felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. I'm sorry you went through that. I'm sorry you had to go through the emotions of feeling heartbroken and your heart ripped out of your chest. We've all been there. But dude, she's an asshole. We can all agree on that, brothers. She's an asshole. But this guy, no offense, but you were an asshole too for enabling her behavior, putting up with her shit. If you didn't behave in any of those ways, I guarantee you wouldn't have spent all that money on her and dealt with all that bullshit. She's one chick, okay? She's with you for what she can get from you, nothing more. And have you ever considered that maybe there's other dudes in the picture? Well, we will see in a moment. I tried to play it cool and ask for an explanation. She explained that despite everything I did, I just wasn't him, as in her ex. And that day in the mall, despite doing everything right, that I just did things differently than her ex. She then accused me of never buying her anything or ever taking her out to eat, and that all I wanted her was from her physically. Never bought her anything, never took her out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said you were tapped out from all the money you were spending on her, taking her out and buying her things. Twisting things around, making you out to be the bad guy to justify her actions. There you go. Which astounded me because I spent money on her constantly and went out to eat all the time. We'd also gotten intimate the one time when her trauma was low enough. This was the second time she broke up with me. Are you telling me in this entire time you hooked up with her just one time? Oh my God, man. She could smell your desperation on that first date and took full advantage of it each and every time. Well, fast forward to 1 month later and she comes crawling back to me yet again. She probably needs more money. She texted me out of the blue, and by this time I was very hesitant, but agreed to meet her nonetheless. Smack. Bro, how much shit do you have to go through? How much heartache, and not to mention having your credit cards maxed out, do you have to go through before you finally see her for what she is? Things went well and went on a few more dates. One of these times, I was in her area and happened to need to go to the shopping center across from her apartment. As I was pulling out, I saw a man leaving her apartment and was dumbstruck. Though I had never seen him before, I instantly knew who he was from her descriptions. It was her ex. There you go. Using you for your spending and all that, and occasionally giving you a little hug, and you hooked up one time. Meanwhile, she's with her ex. As he was getting into his car to leave, she suddenly ran down the stairs and kissed him, happily giggling. Excuse me, guys. And with a smile on her face that I had never seen. I furiously drove home and called her to confront her about it. I would have waited. I would have confronted her right there. At first, she tried to deny it, but after I confronted her with the evidence in my own eyes, she came clean. It turns out she had been seeing this guy on and off for the entire time we've been together. There you go. You were her nice guy, white knight, that she got to spend money on her and would occasionally give a little bit of kissing and hugging to with that one time you hooked up. Meanwhile, the whole time, she no doubt been with that guy. And that's just what she's telling you, I might add. I'm sorry I went through that, man. She's an a-hole, but guess what? You were too for enabling her behavior and being that blind. Okay? But we've all made mistakes. I'm certainly sure you've learned from this and you're helping other guys. But holy shit, dude. After I laid into her about how she immediately turned on a dime and after I laid into her, she immediately turned on a dime and started accusing me of being a stalker and abusive. There you go. You're the bad guy now. Never mind all the lying she's done. Never mind all the manipulation and tactics and jerking you around and hurting you and taking advantage of you. You're the bad guy because you're stalking her, amongst other things. And that she had never felt safe around me. If she never felt safer around you, then why is she spending all this time with you? Duh. This really hurt because she said that being held in my arms was the safest she ever felt in her life. Just another lie. I hung up and immediately deleted her number. Hallelujah. Good for you. Take all this shit for you to finally see the light and cut her off completely. I was absolutely crushed by this betrayal for a while until, what do you know, a few weeks later she tries to crawl back to me yet again. But this time I was having none of it. She even tried to entice me with pictures of her, but oh Lord, she had gone downhill so much in that time. She had shaved her head and gained a lot of weight. She was absolutely disgusting to me with how she looked, and now it was even easier to say no. I haven't talked to her since, and I only thought about her after watching some of your videos, so I thought that I would share this story. Well, bro, I'm glad finally, after all that, you said no, but it sounds like you said no because she sent you pictures of her and she shaved her head. That goes to show her mental state and also gained a lot of weight. But okay, good. I'm glad that she eventually was out of your life and you can get a little bit of a last laugh knowing that she became a fat pig and shaved her head, looked like Sinead O'Connor meets Rosie O'Donnell or whatever. I don't know. But the point is, bro, you fucked up a lot. And I know you know this, and we all know this. But thank you for sharing your story. I respect you the balls to send in to me because you knew darn well I was going to react. But this is, guys, how we learn, okay? By screwing up. And this guy took screwing up to a whole new level. But look, right from the get-go, the first date, he's trying to impress her. And he said, this isn't something I normally don't do. Guys, if you're dating a relationship, guys, I don't care if she's a fucking 9 or a 10 or she's a 6. You treat both of them the same way. You don't take the 6 out for a coffee or a beer and take the 10 out to a freaking $200 horseback riding thing, or you get my point, okay? Because those 9s and 10s are used to that, and they're like, oh, this is just another sucker. Because I guarantee the bad boys that they go for, the guys they really want, don't do that shit, okay? So keep the dates cheap. See what they're like, all that. Go for the kiss, because this 5th date and they hadn't kissed yet. All these little things. And again, how she jerked him around. He showed her his hand from that first date, how much he really liked her spending all that money. And I'm sure he was yes ma'am, no man, and all that. And pretty much she knew then and there, oh, I can jerk this guy around. And what did she do? The second date, she just stood him up. No phone call, nothing. It should have been done right then and there. But the guy kept going back for more because he was so attracted to her and thought he got that one and I have to do all these things because that's what they show in the movies. The guy has to spend all his money on the first date. He has to do all these things and be kind and accommodating and all that. And there are these pit vipers out there that will take advantage of good men like that. So, bro, I really hope that you've learned from this and you're not making the same mistakes again. I know it was tough and it hurt and all that, but there are just gals out there that will take advantage of men, so you got to be careful. And for you guys that are watching this, if you've made these mistakes, don't ever fucking do them again. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from this guy's mistakes, because the whole trying too hard and put her on a pedestal and treat her like the queen and letting her do all these things and be like, okay, you know, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass one day. You got to have your eyes wide open and pay attention to the red flags and don't tolerate bullshit. If you do, gals like this will be more than happy to take advantage of you for everything it's worth, and then kick you to the side of the road like it was nothing. So, learn from this guy's story. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to email me, guys, if you guys have a great story you'd like to share. Something happened last week or last month or 10 years ago. I don't care when it was. Just write it out well. If you think it's relevant for this channel, best stories are always the ones where it's entertaining, but guys can learn from, and they're certainly always the best ones where the guy comes out on top too. We all like those too. And also that also goes for articles and funny other crazy stories you might come across. And also, guys, while I'm thinking about it, be sure to check me out on social media, Instagram and locals, Strong Successful Male. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.